The Bears have been busy this offseason, making aggressive moves in free agency. But they're not done yet. With some cap space still available, and the potential to free up even more by moving on from a few players, they could be looking to add even more talent. The goal is clear: get younger, get better, and build a team that can compete right away. Right now, the Bears have about $16.1 million in cap space, according to Over the Cap. That number could change slightly depending on contract adjustments, but they also need to set aside about $11 million for incoming rookies. With 7 draft picks, 4 of them in the top 100, the Bears will need to budget carefully for those rookie contracts. The higher the pick, the bigger the cap hit, and with a top 10 selection, they'll be paying a premium for that player. This aggressive approach isn't surprising. When free agency started, the Bears had one of the highest cap numbers in the league. Now, they've dropped to one of the lowest. That's what happens when you go all in, making trades and big money signings to improve the roster. The biggest splash? Signing Joe Thuney, arguably the best left guard in the game. A 4-time Super Bowl champion and 3-time Pro Bowler, he's coming off another dominant season and will cost $16 million against the cap. Then there's Drew Dalman, who signed for $13.64 million, and defensive additions like Dio and Grady, whose contracts combine for $15 million in cap space. Add in the trade for Jonah Jackson at $17 million, and the Bears have invested heavily in making this roster better. Spending big doesn't guarantee success, but sitting back and doing nothing guarantees failure. The Bears are taking their shot, and that's exactly what they should be doing. The Bears have built a strong starting lineup, no question about that. But depth? That's where they still need work. They've made some smart moves for special teams, bringing back guys like Josh Blackwell and others on contract extensions. But now, the focus has to shift. Offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, defensive backs. It's a long list, and they need reinforcements across the board. One way to make room for those additions? Cutting players who might not be worth their current contracts. By letting go of certain guys, the Bears could free up cap space to sign impact free agents and even lock down key players for the long term. Now, to be clear, not every name on this list is someone who should be cut, just players who could be, based on the savings versus the dead cap hit. Let's start with Jaquan Brisker. Technically, the Bears could save $344 million by moving on from him, with just $632,000 in dead cap. But that's not happening. Sure, his concussion history is a concern, and he's in the final year of his deal, but when healthy, he's on track to be a top safety. Same goes for Kevin Byard. Cutting him would save $7 million, with only $1.5 million in dead cap, but he was the best safety in the NFC North last year, led the team in tackles, and is a perfect fit for Dennis Allen's defense. If Allen hasn't pushed him out yet, it's not happening. Now, Ryan Bates is a different story. The Bears could save $4 million with zero dead cap by cutting him, and his injury history is a real concern. He hasn't played a full season since his rookie year, so if they wanted to swap him out for a more reliable lineman at the same cost, that would make sense. Same goes for Braxton Jones. He's in the final year of his rookie deal, and with the Bears bringing in Josh Connerly Jr. for a top 30 visit, that raises some eyebrows. Cutting Jones would save $3.6 million with just $74,500 in dead cap, a move worth considering. Beyond that, there are some depth pieces that could go either way. Andrew Billings? The Bears could save $232 million by cutting him, but they'd still carry $1 million in dead cap, so that's probably not happening. Jonathan Owens, though, is a backup safety corner who could be a cut candidate if the Bears plan to draft another defensive back. They'd save $1.8 million and take just a $125,000 dead cap hit. All in all, the Bears could open up nearly $19 million with a few moves. Whether they actually do it remains to be seen, but the flexibility is there if they want to make another splash in free agency. There are still moves the Bears could make to free up cap space and improve the roster. Dominique Robinson, for example, could be a cut candidate, saving the Bears $1.1 million with just $68,200 in dead cap. Same with Elijah Hicks. Cutting him would clear $1.1 million while carrying less than $20,000 in dead money. Add it all up, and these moves could give the Bears an extra $6.32 million in flexibility. Other potential cuts include Noah Sewell, who would save about $950,000 with $162,000 in dead cap, and Tyson Bagent, though the Bears are unlikely to part ways with their backup quarterback. Cutting him would free up a little over $1 million, but with just an $8,300 dead cap hit. Then there's Jordan McFadden, $1.03 million, zero dead cap, and Joshua Miles, $1.1 million, zero dead cap, both of whom could be let go to save a combined $4.1 million. When you go through the full list, the Bears could save a significant chunk of money, but at this point in free agency, the market for impact players is shrinking. That means they're not cutting all these guys, just the ones who no longer fit the plan. On top of that, the Bears have future contracts on the books, each valued at around $1.03 million, including names like Chris Glaser, Jonathan Ford, Ameer Speed, Morris Alexander, and Daniel Hardy. Some of these players could be released to make way for new additions. So who would I cut? Noah Sewell is at the top of my list. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy, and that money could be better spent elsewhere. The Bears need depth at linebacker, and keeping Jack Sanborn over Sewell would have made more sense. Jordan McFadden hasn't shown much, and with how aggressive the Bears have been in free agency, moving on from him opens up space for younger, more reliable offensive linemen. Ryan Bates? Another logical cut. He'd save the team $4 million, and with his injury history, reliability is a real concern. Joshua Miles also hasn't panned out, and cutting him would free up even more room. In total, those moves alone would save over $7 million. Add in potential cuts like Chris Glaser, Ameer Speed, Dominique Robinson, and Elijah Hicks, and the savings jump to over $11 million. That's enough to bring in new rookies, sign key depth pieces, or even land a veteran who could contribute immediately. At this stage, it's all about finding the right pieces to round out the roster. The Bears have done a great job being aggressive in free agency, but there's still work to do, especially on the defensive side of the ball and in the trenches. Depth is key, and while there are still some big names available, guys like Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, and Stephon Diggs, most teams are waiting until later in the offseason when prices drop. For now, it's about making smart financial moves, bringing in the right role players, and setting the roster up for success. We'll see how things shake out, but the Bears still have some decisions to make before the season kicks off.